Welcome back to Gold and Blue Dude. This channel is home of at least one college football video every single day. So don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. And don't forget to check out my good friends at tristatewithsketch.com. All you have to do is send them the picture and they'll transfer it on the wood. They do family photos, couples photos, logos of your favorite team, all shapes and sizes. Right now he's running a buy one get one free special if you mention that Gold and Blue Dude sent you. I can't believe that we're already halfway through the college football season, which means the first playoff rankings are coming out this Tuesday. Here's the current AP Top 25. Number 1, Georgia. 2, Cincinnati. 3, Alabama. 4, Oklahoma. 5, Ohio State. 6, Michigan. 7, Oregon. 8, Michigan State. 9, Iowa. 10, Ole Miss. 11, Notre Dame. 12, Kentucky. 13, Wake Forest. 14, Texas A&M. 15, Oklahoma State. 16, Baylor. 17, Pitt. 18, Auburn. 19, SMU. 20, Penn State. 21, San Diego State. 22, Iowa State. 23, UTSA. 24, Coastal Carolina. And 25, BYU. But we all know the playoff committee doesn't always go by the AP Top 25. It's probably going to look completely different. So there's some questions about the first playoff rankings that will be answered on Tuesday. And here's a few of the questions that you might be asking. The first question, and I think it's on everybody's mind, will the playoff committee actually respect Cincinnati, provided they do beat Tulane, which I'm expecting they will? How high are they going to rank Cincinnati? Are they going to keep them in the 2 spot like the AP Top 25, or are they going to drop them down to a 3 or a 4 or completely out of the top 4? One of the biggest battles that Cincinnati had to fight last year is they actually had to work themselves into the top 4, and of course they didn't. This year it would help Cincinnati if they were already in the top 4. That would be half the battle for the Bearcats. Next question, how high do they place a one-loss Alabama? Well, in the AP Top 25, Alabama's number 3. Alabama's on a bye week, so in the first playoff rankings, Alabama will only have one loss, and that was on the road to Texas A&M. Unranked Texas A&M. Does the playoff committee keep Alabama at 3, lower than 3, or bump them up to number 2? The next question is, will a Michigan school make the top 4 in the first playoff rankings? Whoever wins the Michigan State battle, will the playoff committee reward that team and put them in the top 4? I think they should, but that means they would probably have to keep Alabama out of the top 4. That's going to be a great debate. That brings me to my next question. Will they keep an undefeated Oklahoma out of the top 4 in the first playoff rankings? Oklahoma is undefeated, but they haven't looked all that great. Where is Oklahoma going to be ranked? The next question, how much value will they give a one-loss Oregon? They have a win over a good Ohio State, but they lost to Stanford. And that leads into the next question. Who wins a head-to-head decision between a one-loss Oregon and a one-loss Ohio State if it comes down to that? Oregon has the head-to-head win over Ohio State, but they have a worse loss than Ohio State. Ohio State lost to Oregon, Oregon lost to Stanford. Who wins that debate? Personally, I would give it to Ohio State because even though Oregon wins the head-to-head, in my mind, I'm thinking a Stanford loss is worse than a loss to Oregon. Next question, does the ACC have any chance of getting the teams into the playoffs, whether it's a one-loss Pitt or an undefeated Wake Forest? Knowing the playoff committee like we all do, I think the answer to that is no. I think the ACC's only shot of getting into the playoffs was Clemson, either undefeated or one loss. That's off the table. I don't think they respect a one-loss Pitt or an undefeated Wake Forest enough to put them into the playoffs, unless other things happen. Hey, don't forget about my score prediction contest for my Patreons. Blue members get 1 guest prediction per week, gold members get 2 guest predictions per week, and champion members get 4 guest predictions per week. Whoever gets the closest to the score wins $20 every single week, and you can win as many times as you want. This week's game is number 6 Michigan at number 8 Michigan State, and the tiebreaker is going to be number 10 Ole Miss at number 8 Auburn. So go join my Patreon page and send me your score prediction. Next question, how hard are they going to try to get 2 SEC teams into the playoffs? I think they're going to pull out all stops and give the SEC every opportunity to put 2 teams into the playoffs. The next question, does Iowa still have any shot to make the playoffs? I think they do, but then again, I think they also need some other help. Next question is, could Auburn sneak into the playoffs as a 2-loss SEC champion? Well, going back to what I was saying about the playoff committee, they love the SEC. Absolutely. If a 2-loss Auburn beats an undefeated Georgia in the SEC championship, both of those teams will make the playoffs. So yes, I think a 2-loss Auburn who wins the SEC championship would get into the playoffs. Next question, if Cincinnati does make it to the playoffs, what 2 conferences get left out? That's one thing people forget. If Cincinnati gets in, not just one Power 5 conference, but 2 Power 5 conferences will be left out. I think the most likely would be the Pac-12 and the Big 12. Next question, is there still a path for Notre Dame to make the playoffs? That's a very tricky question. A lot of things would need to happen for Notre Dame to make the playoffs. And then there's that head-to-head loss to Cincinnati. Does Notre Dame want Cincinnati to lose to try to help them get an extra spot, or do they want Cincinnati to keep winning to make that loss look as good as possible. Here's my next question. What one-loss teams who don't make it to a conference championship still have a chance to make it to the playoffs, if any? The team that pops into my head would be Kentucky. If Kentucky runs the table and Georgia also runs the table, Georgia will make it to the SEC championship. Kentucky will not, and they will only have one loss, and it'll be to Georgia. So out of all those teams out there with one loss that doesn't make it to a conference championship, I think Kentucky would have the best shot. But I think it's a very long shot right now. Next question. Would a one-loss Baylor that wins the Big 12 championship have a shot to make the playoffs? Yeah, I think they would, but very minimal. They would need a lot of help. Baylor is still not out of the playoff picture just yet. And finally, the biggest question. Who are the top 4 teams in the first playoff rankings? I know it depends on who wins and who loses over the weekend. Number 1, Georgia gets Florida in a neutral rivalry game. Cincinnati has to go on the road to Tulane. Number 3, Alabama is on a bye week. Number 4, Oklahoma gets Texas Tech at home. Number 5, Ohio State gets number 20, Penn State at home. And then you have the Battle of Michigan. Number 6, Michigan at number 8, Michigan State. If everybody wins, I think it'll be 1, Georgia, 2, Cincinnati, 3, Alabama, and 4, Ohio State. And then number 5 would be Michigan. Or Michigan State, whoever wins that game between Michigan and Michigan State. I think they would slide Oklahoma down to the 6th spot. That's just my opinion. A lot of scenarios go into that. This is actually how the first rankings could look like. Number 1, Georgia. Number 2, Alabama. Number 3, Ohio State. Number 4, Oklahoma. Number 5, the winner of Michigan, Michigan State. And then number 6, Cincinnati. I just don't trust the playoff committee. I hope that doesn't happen, but I have that feeling that they're going to do that. So I think those are the biggest questions going into the first playoff rankings. And we still have a whole Saturday slate of college football games. So maybe those answers will be a little bit more clear after Saturday. That's all I got for you for this show. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you on my next show.